This is a stimulus update and daily news report. Got some major updates to share with you. President Biden just said that the U.S. would militarily defend Taiwan if China decided to attack Taiwan, same way that Russia has attacked Ukraine. I'll give you the details on that. Plus, President Biden's poll numbers hit a new low point, and Americans are not happy with the way the economy is going. I'll let you know what the White House economic advisor has to say could make the economy better. Also, IRS to pay 5% interest to individuals with delayed tax returns and $3,200 in direct payments going to certain Americans. And another state is giving bonus checks of $500, and I'll give you some other important updates as well. Hope you're having a more than mundane Monday. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below, and I'm giving $200 to my subscribers. I'm going to pick the winners in just a couple days, so you still have some time if you want to potentially win $200. Details are down in the description below. Let's get into it. So, Biden says U.S. willing to respond militarily in event of Chinese attack on Taiwan. So we've seen some tension build up between China and Taiwan, same way as Russia and Ukraine. So he was asked this question when standing next to the Prime Minister today, Monday, in Japan. So it happened before now, but yeah, he said, or the reporter said, you didn't want to get involved in the Ukraine conflict militarily for obvious reasons. Are you willing to get involved militarily to defend Taiwan if it comes to that? President Biden said, yes, that's the commitment we made. Huge statement there. So could the U.S. handle two potential wars? We have one in Ukraine, which is very costly. I think over 50 billion at this point, and then one in Taiwan from China. Two huge superpowers, China and Russia, attacking smaller pieces of land. What are your thoughts on that? Should the U.S. get involved? Should they not? Also, President Biden's poll numbers or approval ratings drops a lot. It seems like every week I'm getting the same headline here. Biden's approval dips to lowest of presidency. I didn't know it could get any lower. It seems like every week it's the lowest. So only 39% of U.S. adults approve of Biden's performance as president, according to the poll from the Associated Press. 2 in 10 adults say the U.S. is heading in the right direction or the economy is good, which is down from 3 in 10 a month earlier. And Democrats with just 33% within the president's party saying that the country is in the right direction, down from 49% in April. Numbers are not looking good for President Biden, but is he having a tough time? Is it his doing the way that the economy is right now? Are there other variables? Who do you side with? President Biden, other variables? Let me know your thoughts on all of that. Tough time for the president and the Democrats. So more than 2/3 in poll say economy is bad. So this is like just Americans in general saying a new poll shows 69% of Americans refer to the economy as bad, up from 46% in the spring. Let me know, is the economy bad? I just filled up gas yesterday and it was $52, the most expensive it's ever been to fill up my car with gas. I have a Honda CRV, 12 gallon. And yeah, it's pretty crazy how expensive everything is getting. And obviously if you're paying that much, the economy, regardless who you are, it's not going to be that good. I mean, if you're a millionaire or billionaire, it doesn't really affect you. But for the other 99% of Americans, yeah, it's a horrible thing going on. But this could be a period of transition, according to the White House economic advisor. So U.S. economy is in a period of transition, White House economic advisor Brian Dees says, saying that the U.S. is moving from the strongest economic recovery in modern history to what can be a period of more stable and resilient growth. Are those just words? Do you believe him? Watch this video clip and let me know your thoughts.
To discuss all of this is the president's top economic advisor, the director of the National Economic Council, Brian Dees. Thank you so much for coming in this morning. Let's start with the S&P 500 dipping into bear market territory on Friday. It did rebound slightly. The Dow just experienced its longest losing streak in nearly a century. So yes or no, is the U.S. falling into a recession?
Well, there are always risks, but here's where I think we are. Our economy is in a transition from what has been the strongest recovery in modern American history to what can be a period of more stable and resilient growth that works better for families. There's no doubt we face serious global challenges right now, inflation, first and foremost among them, and it's hitting families hard. But there's also no doubt that the United States is in a better position than any other major country around the world to address inflation without giving up all the economic gains that we've had. And that's because of the strength of our recovery. We have the strongest job market. We have businesses investing. We have Americans actually increasing their savings and paying down their debt.
So given all of that, are you confident that the U.S. can avoid a recession?
In this transition, the United States is in a better place than any other country because of those strengths. If you think about where we have come from, we have navigated through Delta and Omicron. We've navigated through the gyrations coming from Putin's war in Ukraine. And still, the American consumer, the American business has been resilient through this period. And so if we keep our focus on bringing inflation down in a way that actually helps families.
But you're not saying no.
Look, there are always risks, but we feel very good about where the United States is, particularly when you look on the global landscape.
Okay, let's talk about inflation. It is still near the highest levels in 4 decades. I want to play what President Biden said about this issue almost a year ago compared to what he's saying now.
By the way, talking inflation, the overwhelming consensus is going to pop up a little bit and then go back down. I want every American to know that I'm taking inflation very seriously, and it's my top domestic priority.
Brian, how did the administration get that so wrong?
Look, a lot of things have changed over the course of the last year, and we've dealt with a lot of unexpected challenges. As I mentioned, the Delta wave of COVID, Omicron on top of that, and more recently, Putin's invasion of Ukraine, which has sent gyrations through global energy markets. What's most important for the American people to understand right now is they have a president who is making clear, as you just played, that inflation is his top economic priority, and that means a couple of things. First, we need to give the Fed the space and the independence to do its job, which is to get inflation under control. Second, we need to lower costs for families, make things more affordable for them during this economic transition. And third, we need to reduce the federal deficit. If we reduce the federal deficit, we'll help to reduce price pressures in the economy. We've made a lot of progress on that because of the president's policies, but we can do more.
Well, let me ask you about 2 specific things that would get to the second point you made about lowering cost for consumers. Number one, the federal gas tax. Would you implement a federal gas tax holiday, yes or no?
Well, we're looking at every option. That's something that Congress would need to take up. When it comes
Well, the president would have to, not would have to, but if the administration wants it, he could announce that that's something he wants.
Look, we're working with congressional leaders on a range of different options, and the president is open to anything that could constructively move to help bring some relief at the pump. He has already taken historic action, to be clear. We're releasing 1 million barrels a day from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Countries around the world are doing the same because the president has led. That has helped to blunt the impact of oil prices.
So the gas tax holiday is very much on the table.
Look, we're looking at any option that could constructively move us forward.
Let me ask you about another option, rolling back Trump's tariffs on China.
Well, that's another thing that we're actively looking at, but that goes to a broader question of how we can make trade internationally work for American families and American consumers. The president's in Asia right now, as you mentioned, and tomorrow we'll be launching something called the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. This is designed to actually focus on those economic issues that would matter most for American families. Let me give you a really concrete example. Supply chains. This framework will help us build more resilient early warnings for supply chains. One of the reasons why prices have gone up so much is we've seen these supply chain disruptions that then mean that Americans have to pay more at the store or online. We can solve those types of issues. That's what the president will be talking about tomorrow.
Let's talk about baby formula. Speaking of supply chain, 45% of baby formula products nationwide were out of stock at some point last week. At least 4 babies in South Carolina have been hospitalized because of complications due to this shortage. So when will baby formula be available to Americans in the way that they need?
Well, because of the actions that we're taking right now, we're going to see more formula coming off factory lines and more formula in stores starting as early as this week.
And when will we get to normalcy?
Well, as you mentioned, there is a flight that left last night from Ramstein Air Force Base in Germany full of formula that will land in Indiana this morning, specialty medical grade formula, the type that we most need in this market. Just in that plane flight alone, that will cover about 15% of the overall national volume that we need for that. More flights in train that will be coming in early this week, and we're going to keep ramping that up until we get there. It's going to take a little bit of time for the Abbott, the manufacturer, to bring its facility back online.
What is that time, ballpark?
Well, the CEO this morning in the Washington Post said that they would have that operation back running in about a month. But we're not going to wait that long. As I said, these planes that are landing right now are going to provide some incremental relief in the coming days. We're going to keep working on it over the course of weeks.
I just have to ask, people watching this are probably wondering, as we all are, how do we get to the point where the United States of America has to airlift baby formula from another country in order to feed its children?
Look, it's a reasonable question, and it's frustrating. I'm a parent, and we look and we say, nothing could be more important than the health and the safety of our babies. We have to take safety very seriously. And part of what happened here was that we had a manufacturer that wasn't following the rules and that was making formula that had the risk of making babies sick. So we have to take action on that front. But there's a bigger root to your question, which is how did we end up in a market where we have 3 companies that control 90% of the market? It goes back to this question of how we can bring more competition in our economy, have more providers of this formula so that no individual company has this much control over supply chains. And we're going to have to work on that. There's some big questions underneath that we're going to have to get under.
Brian?
What are your thoughts on what the White House economic advisor has to say? Do you agree, disagree? Are things going to get better? Is it out of the White House's hands and things are just running rampant on its own? Let me know your thoughts on all that. IRS to pay 5% interest to individuals with delayed tax returns. Let me know, have you had a tax return that's delayed? Is the IRS going to owe you 5%? So the IRS will start paying 5% in guaranteed interest to individuals with delayed tax returns beginning in July, up a percentage point from the last interest hike that took effect in April. The agency will also pay 4% interest on delayed corporate tax returns, 5% on underpayments on tax returns, and 7% for large corporate underpayments. I don't know why corporations are going to get in 7%. Why not give the 7% to the American people? But anyways, the federal government regularly spends billions of dollars in interest on delayed returns. The IRS has paid out almost $14 billion in refund interest in the last 7 fiscal years. So $14 billion in interest. Yeah, it's good for the American people, but the government could be a lot more efficient with its spending. That $14 billion, they could have hired $14 billion worth of labor and workers and avoid having to waste money and ruin people's lives with all these delayed income tax returns. I mean, $14 billion, just hire more people. I don't know. It seems simple to me. Maybe not. But anyways, let's get into other stimulus news here. Thousands of residents inch closer to receiving $3,200 in direct payments as lawmakers pass package. Are you eligible? So, after months of debate, Alaska lawmakers have agreed to a budget resolution that includes $3,200 payments to taxpayers. Under the proposal, Alaskans would get the funds through 2 different dividends. The first is a $2,550 payment from Alaska's Permanent Fund, which pays dividend of Alaska's oil wealth to residents every year. And then Alaskans will also get a one-time payment of $650 energy relief payment. So that comes out to $3,200 payments to residents of Alaska, which is a lot of money. Should other states do this type of thing as well, give multi-$1,000 stimulus checks? Is this a good idea, bad idea, or is Alaska so isolated and they have a small amount of people that this makes sense? Let me know your thoughts on that. Plus, we got $500 checks going out too. Bonus checks worth of $500 heading to thousands of households in weeks. See if you're eligible. So this is coming from the Massachusetts Essential Employee Premium Pay Program, which is going out in multiple batches. So the last round went out in March, and it's gone out to roughly 480,000 people. Basically, 400 million of the 460 million payments have already been distributed, and eligibility for the second round of $500 is determined by Massachusetts residents' 2021 income, and it does not matter what industry you work. So if you made less, or your income of employment during the year must have been at least $13,500 and filed a tax return. Then you get the $500 check. Should more states do this, give checks out to workers? Let me know your thoughts on that. And that is all the news that I have for you today to hopefully brighten your day a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, it's Bella tip of the day. I want to tell you the one thing that you should do. Do the things that scare you the most, because after you do that, you become a better person. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. So took the day off yesterday, went to church with the family early in the morning, and I didn't really have enough time to make a video for you. So I'm sorry that I missed yesterday. I try to do this on a daily basis to give you the updates in a really straightforward format, kind of like how I would like to watch it. So sorry about that. I'm going to do my best to give it to you on a daily basis moving forward. And yeah, if you want to check out my latest videos on my other channel, you could click up here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.